Alright, hey guys, it's me again, and today we're going to talk about Defy. Now, normally I would show you one build about how this ability works pretty well with one frame, but not today, as this ability works quite well on quite a few different frames. Now, as a tanking tool, Defy is quite weak, but as a damage tool, it's borderline busted. Now, Defy does a lot of damage as it absorbs incoming damage and multiplies it by 7 at base, and then deals it back out in a massive AoE that hits through walls. But its main problem was armor, so it can never really reach its full potential on Wukong. So, first I decided to turn to two frames, Ember and Garuda. Ember's Fire Blast has the ability to strip armor in a big AoE when Immolation is at max, and honestly this works pretty well on Ember. Even though I'm not using it as a tanking tool, it does work pretty well as paired with Arcane Aegis, as Defy gives you about 10 or 15 shields when you use it, and you can abuse that to basically get Arcane Aegis procs, and that will keep you alive for quite a while. I'm also using Adaptation and Healing Flame so I don't get instantly vaporized before I can show this off. The other frame I turned to was Garuda, as her fourth ability bypasses the need for an armor strip as it turns any instance of damage into a slash proc. Surviving was a bit trickier as Garuda, and that's because I had to get rid of her shield so it wouldn't get in the way of me absorbing damage for Defy, but with Garuda's 4 I was doing more damage than Ember. I'm not too worried about survivability anyways, since it's a nuke build, but once I got used to it, it was fine. For example, you can melee block while you're in the charging animation for your 4. Even without the armor strip, the damage is actually pretty useful on other frames. For example, Equinox can use the absorb damage to build into Mend and Maim, so you effectively just have 2 nukes on Equinox, though you probably won't be able to do this against Grineer since they have the lowest damage out of all the factions, and all of them have armor. But it gets even crazier if you put it on Sarin. Defy spreads spores on hit and on kill, which makes her one of the best candidates to use this ability, as the corrosive procs also get rid of armor, although not enough to kill the Grineer outright, unlike Ember. But since it's spreading our high damage spores, that doesn't really matter. So hands down, this is probably one of the best abilities you can put on Sarin with the helmet system. Now, the only downside I've noticed with Defy is that unlike other AoEs in the game, Defy doesn't hit within like a big spear. The hitbox of Defy is actually the staff itself. For example, you're not going to be able to hit like flying enemies unless like you're on their elevation, so you need to like hit a ramp or something in order to even hit them. Enemies that have like weak spots on their lower body, you're probably not going to be able to hit either. Like a good example would be Captain Vor. So be sure to keep an eye on your elevation if you're just not hitting some enemies. But without further ado, here's the build. So here's the build for Ember. I have max efficiency, healing flame, adaptation, and vitality to stay alive, as well as I have Hunter Adrenaline, basically because I'm going to be taking a lot of health damage, and the costs on Immolation just going up and up the longer you keep it at max. So that's why I have this here to basically make Ember's energy way more manageable. I also have a little bit of power strength, and I have little bit of duration, though I have negative duration, but that doesn't really matter because Defy has a very, very low base duration anyways of like 2 seconds. So it gets up to like max like 6 with 300% power, or excuse me, 300% duration. So building for duration is not a big deal, and you can build quite a lot of damage in like a couple seconds anyways. So you can cancel this early, though, if you do decide to build for duration, as it is kind of an alternative way to build for this. And then we have Aegis to abuse the shields you get from Defy, and also Energize just for a little bit more energy, just in case I run low, because running out of energy for Ember is bad. That's real bad. Against 20 Corrupted Heavy Gunners, right, I gotta cast Immolation, and I gotta spam my 4. Until it's at 90%. That's not going to do a whole lot of damage, of course, but once I hit that 90%, I'm going to be able to strip armor, and I'm going to make sure a lot of them are shooting me, and I can just get rid of them. This you kind of just want, with Defy, you kind of just want to make sure like enemies are targeting you. That one's not armor strips, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Because I have radiation on my Synod Simulor. to deal with ancients. But as you can see, deals with these guys fairly well. There's one left. And that works pretty well. You could build more duration and just build a little less power strength if you're confident in like tanking. For example, if you don't feel like you need adaptation because you feel like the damage reduction from immolation is enough, then I'd just advise you to put maybe more duration or more strength or something like that. You could also go more range, though 12 meters range at base is pretty good. As you'll see on Garuda, I have her built more for range as well as a little more duration. And I don't have as much power strength because I'm just want to get the 100% on Seeking Talons, and that's really all I need. I don't need anything else, like at all, with Garuda. Alright, and I gotta stand into position and perfectly time this. And then it's just gonna hit them all with that massive slash proc. Now let's take a look at Equinox. With Equinox, it's literally just my main build, but instead of having Augur Reach here, I have Prime Continuity here, and everything else is the same. And we have Defy to help us with nuking, though it's not gonna be like hugely beneficial against like high armor targets. It's not gonna nuke them outright. We need to build it up, right? And you're gonna do that against like trash enemies, for example, corrupted crewmen, butchers, and corrupted lancers. A lot of the corrupted like grunts have very low stats compared to like say Grenier, but basically you like cast Mend or Maim to build it up. And since Day Form has the buff, I can also increase my power strength a little. So while they get unstunned from that, right, and now I have like 100,000 damage I can just release on anyone at any given time. And it's very easy to just build that up into the millions on like Mott because enemies have triple damage. So very effective on Mott and against the Corpus. Just not so much against the Grenier because they don't do a whole lot of damage and they are quite tanky. Let's just get regular elite lancers. Increase my power strength. I didn't kill anybody with that. I got close, but in the steel path, these guys will have twice the amount of health, so they won't die from that normally. But I have some nuking ability. But you can see because of their armor, they reduced it. So, yeah. More effective against all the other factions because they just do way more damage than the Grenier. And last but not least, Sarin. This interaction surprised me the most. Now, if you're going for solo, you want something like this, right? Where you have like some duration and some range, but also some power strength. And this will work best by far in solo, just so you can ramp up your damage to crazy levels on your Spores. And also Defy will just spread them. So you can see, cast Spore on one enemy and then cast Defy. Right, and now Spores is on every enemy. Not only does it work on hit, it also works on kill. So I got a Butcher and then 7 Corrupted Heavy Gunners. I'm gonna cast my Spores on the Butcher. Cast Defy. Does a little bit of damage to me. He dies. And everyone else also has Spores on them. But if you're in a pub, this does way too much damage and also doesn't have enough range. So what I'd advise you to do instead is drop some duration. This is preferred because while you can cancel Defy if you like don't want it to last as all you can't do it fast enough with this amount of duration. So you want even lower duration. And you just want to skip out on power strength entirely and go straight for just range. And then when you have all your range mods in, then you start adding strength. So I'm just going to add Intensify and Augur Secrets to get close to base. But like you don't want your Spores doing a whole lot of damage in a pub because it's just going to kill them outright. And if it does that, it doesn't spread. So, and it looks something like this basically, where you just lightly graze them with your staff. Oh, I missed. And then you just spread the Spores around constantly. Yeah, and it looks something like that. Now, Defy as a tanking tool, quite weak. It barely gives you any armor. But now that I've messed around with this on other frames and used it as a damaging ability, I completely understand why they nerfed it, because this doing as much damage as it does and also giving you like basically half of the armor cap is, yeah, that'd be insane. On top of that, this doesn't really cost that much and has quite a big range, but again, I already said that the hitbox for Defy is the staff itself. So you need to be aware of elevation, so get on higher ledges sometimes to get those like flying enemies, and you should be good to go. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.